You said he's a hostage just now. You told the BBC he's a slave to foreign interests.
Correct.
So I just want to ask you to be sort of explicit. I mean, Trump is being held hostage by whom?
By Benjamin Netanyahu
what?
and by his many advocates in the United States. And we know that not simply because Trump started the war on February 28th, but because he couldn't get out of it.
Liberals will tell you that Donald Trump is a pawn of Vladimir Putin. They will tell you that Donald Trump is a puppet of Mohammed bin Salman. They will tell you that Donald Trump is a puppet of whoever, so long as you don't ask them if he's a puppet of Benjamin Netanyahu. Honestly, folks, it takes a lot for Tim Pool to give credit where credit is due to anyone that doesn't just parrot the lies and the propaganda of the Zionist entity and Benjamin Netanyahu. Because, of course, you know, Tim Pool knows Benjamin Netanyahu personally. He got invited to some, some like Oxford Union style debate thing. I don't know. He got invited to some dinner party with Netanyahu where they were all talking about secret Zio plans and stuff. And, well, I'm saying this to tell you that what Tim Pool has to say here really is a big deal. Tim Pool quote retweeted this new report that was put out by Tucker Carlson showing the meteoric rise of the Tucker Carlson network, only available off the television networks, I might add. And he said, I don't think people understand the magnitude of this reporting. Tucker has just shattered every viewer record for podcasting 5 times over. He's currently 7 times bigger than Joe Rogan on YouTube and is 20 times bigger per episode across all platforms. 20 times bigger. That's according to the new numbers that were published, all publicly available, by the way. If you want to do the time and do the math yourself and spend time putting together the numbers. But Tucker Carlson has broken cable news ratings records at Fox, and today he's reaching multiples of that audience independently at 56.8 million views per episode across social media and podcast platforms. Yes. Yeah, I mean, the peak viewership of Tucker Carlson tonight, which was the #1 show on cable news, you know, at its peak during the Ukraine-Russia conflict, right, during the Biden mess and chaos, at its peak, you know, they're getting 5-7 million views per night at its peak. Peak viewership, Tucker Carlson tonight, primetime television, Fox News. No one else was even getting close to that. CNN, MSNBC, no one else was getting close to that. Now Tucker Carlson is hitting 56.8 million views per episode on average. And not every guest he's bringing on is some big name celebrity political star. You know, he's bringing on people that are lowering that average significantly, you would think. But people just want to hear the truth, so they're tuning in. And they're getting the truth. And why I show you that is because people don't know how to wrap their minds around what is going on anymore. Tim Pool clearly doesn't. He's like, wow, I picked the wrong horse. I chose to have the sit-down meeting with Netanyahu in secret so we could have our, you know, Masonic, ritualistic, secret society meetings with Netanyahu and his staff about how we're going to propagandize the American public. He's saying, I selected the wrong horse, I'll admit. Hey, at least he's man enough to admit that he picked the wrong horse, right? At least he's man enough to admit that. The New York Times also, what can I say? I expected this, right? They also can't understand this. And they decided to have this woman who looks like a very sensible, totally sane actor, you know, totally looks like a normal person. I would never make a judgment of a New York Times employee based upon their looks, their glasses, the very questionable sort of, what do you call that thing? The 2010 hipster style, you know, jacket thing they're wearing. What are those called? No, I'd never make a judgment of someone based on their looks. This I'm sure is someone that definitely probably had a very reasonable position on COVID lockdown and the COVID vaccine mandates. You know, this is a person that I'm sure has a very reasonable stance on the Nazis in Ukraine. This is a person who I'm sure has a very reasonable stance on the genocide in Gaza. I'm sure she also, I don't want to assume the gender. I'm sure she has a very appropriate and understandable position on genders and these things like that, right? These are very complicated issues, the question of gender. I'm sure she has her cardigan, she's sitting there in her cardigan jacket. I'm sure she has a very, I'm sure she has a very good outlook on the world. Anyways, the New York Times selected her to go toe-to-toe against Tucker Carlson. So let's see what was said. Let's see.
You said he's a hostage just now. You told the BBC he's a slave to foreign interests.
Correct.
So I just want to ask you to be sort of explicit. I mean, Trump is being held hostage by whom?
By Benjamin Netanyahu
what?
and by his many advocates in the United States. And we know that not simply because Trump started the war on February 28th, but because he couldn't get out of it.
I love liberals. I'm going to interrupt a little bit here. I love liberals for the simple reason that they're just hilarious. Liberals will tell you that Donald Trump is a pawn of Vladimir Putin, despite the fact that he's still funding the Ukraine war. CIA is still doing special operations with Ukrainian special services and carrying out terror attacks on Russia. But they will still tell you that he is a puppet of Putin. There's still thousands of sanctions. Russia is the most sanctioned country on the face of the earth. Whatever. They will still tell you that he is a Putin puppet. They will tell you that Donald Trump is a puppet of Mohammed bin Salman. Liberals will tell you that Donald Trump is a puppet of Qatar. They will tell you that Donald Trump is a puppet of whoever, so long as you don't ask them if he's a puppet of Benjamin Netanyahu, because that offends the uniparty sympathies that extend throughout Washington, D.C. and the media establishment, the finance capital ecosystem that reaches into every single aspect of our life. If you ask them, well, what do you think about his relationship with Miriam Adelson and AIPAC and the Foundation for Democracy and Benjamin Netanyahu? Oh, no. He's not captured by Benjamin. He's captured by Putin, not Netanyahu. No, never could be Netanyahu.
He declares we're having a ceasefire. This was 4 weeks in. He says we're having a ceasefire and we're having these talks and they're going great. And we're going to open the strait. And Iran says, yeah, one of our conditions is Israel's got to pull back from southern Lebanon. You can't use the Iran war as a pretext for stealing more land from a sovereign country. That's not your country. No. And it's not just Iran who felt that way. I think the rest of the world's like, what are you doing? I thought we were, fighting the great existential threat, Iran, and now you're taking the opportunity to take Lebanon shore of the Litani River and bombing downtown Beirut. What is this? Anyway, this was all very well known. And within hours of Trump announcing this, Israel publicly, in a way that was designed to get the attention of everyone, including the Iranians, starts killing civilians in Lebanon. Now, what was the point of that? Not to secure the Israeli homeland. The point of that was to end any talk of a negotiated settlement, to keep this going until Iran was destroyed and chaotic, which is the Israeli goal. I'm not attacking Israel by saying that. Their goals are different from ours. They're a different country.
Yeah, they would argue, of course, that what they are doing is neutralizing the threat that has been persistent in Lebanon through Hezbollah.
Oh, okay. But I mean, they invaded Lebanon.
I knew she had a reasonable stance on these issues, right? She's really a free thinker. She's a real genius, real smart cookie we got at the other end of the table here.
Not in 1982. Okay, so that was 44 years ago. They've had a lot of experience in Lebanon, a lot. They've had a lot of time to fix Lebanon. They killed Nasrallah. They blew up the Hezbollah with explosive pagers. They've done a lot since October 7th.
And a bunch of innocent kids mostly, and people in Lebanon they blew up with those pagers. I met them.
In Lebanon, they chose that moment to derail the negotiations. And they've done this repeatedly. And so my perspective as an American is, look, we're the United States. We're a country of 350 million people. You are wholly dependent on us. You're a country of 9 million people with no natural resources. I'm not against you, but like we're not co-equals here.
I am against the state of Israel. I will say that I am 1,000% against them. I'm against anyone in that country that is backing this genocide, the war on Iran, the genocidal ambitions in the south of Lebanon. I will say I am 1,000% against them. 1,000% I am against them. Wholeheartedly. I will. How it's like Tucker is so close. He's so close.
But the point I'm making is Trump could not restrain Netanyahu. Netanyahu is the one person Trump could not say, hey, settle down, or we'll just defund you and your country will collapse in about 10 minutes.
This is also another thing. It's like, can we not understand that these things are beneficial to U.S. grand strategy of encircling Russia, encircling China, trying to starve them economically, trying to block the Belt and Road Initiative? Because Netanyahu's whole goal is to kill the Belt and Road Initiative because it's going to strengthen Afghanistan. It's going to strengthen Iran. It's going to strengthen Pakistan. And he wants to replace that with the what do they call it? The Israel Middle East corridor. That's what they to Europe. It's all about how can we get goods into Europe. And there's two strategies. There is the India Middle East corridor, or it's either India or Israel. I think it's India Middle East corridor, and it runs right through Israel. Or there is the Belt and Road Initiative led by China, and that is all about, of course, going through Afghanistan, Iran, Pakistan, so on and so forth, in a way that will strengthen the perceived enemies of Israel in the region, and strengthen, most importantly, China, and strengthen Russia. So can we not understand that there's two goals at play here? There's the people, Trump is winning, the Department of Energy, the Department of Defense, they are all winning, and Israel's winning with their goals. Like, I love how everyone just thinks that Trump is some courageous hero that got sucked into the wrong position. He got blackmailed. He got pressured into the wrong position. Sorry, it's the U.S. goal as well, and it has been for decades. Let's put our thinking caps on. Let's put our tinfoil hats on. Let's think about this logically. They all win by this. This is their goal. It has been their goal. They have stated this in every white paper published by every think tank in Washington, D.C., and some people are saying, no, it can't be that Israel is calling all the shots. Some people are saying, yes, Israel is calling all the shots. It really is both. They're all genocidal, sycophantic maniacs that are not only committed to, yes, making sure that Iran is eliminated and Iran does not become the regional superpower. But also, yeah, they want to make sure that Russia's balkanized, just like they want Iran balkanized. They want China to be split up into 100 or 120 little small fractured ethnic minority states, and they want them weak, and they want the Belt and Road Initiative canceled. They don't want the petro-yuan to threat the petrodollar. Yes, of course, this is about the entire imperial system backed by the U.S. dollar that they are trying to uphold and protect. That's what it's about.
Minutes, which is true.
And by the way, if I ever have the privilege of having a conversation with Tucker, I would tell him that straight to his face, and I'd love to hear what he has to say, because that is an undeniable fact. That is an undeniable fact. So we can sit here and act like, oh, Trump this, Trump that, but when has a U.S. president ever called the shots? Did Trump call the shots when he ran for the presidency the first time, claiming he was going to drain the swamp, and he put John Bolton as his national security advisor? He put Mike Pompeo as originally he had him in some position, and then he became CIA director. These are the most swampish swamp creatures on the face of the earth. He put Rex Tillerson at DOE. He put, who else was in there? James Jeffries, U.S. envoy to Syria. He put the biggest warmongering neocon deep state globalist hacks the second he got into D.C. So no, I don't buy anyone telling me, oh, he's trying, but he's being bamboozled. He's being cut. John Mearsheimer. John Mearsheimer, I'm a really smart guy. I wear these glasses and I have this suit on and my hair is balding and slicked back. You know, it's like, okay, I appreciate what some people are doing and saying. And John Mearsheimer obviously is like a legend of this far before me, before I was born. But it's like, brother, can we not see what's going on? Are we really still repeating this bullshit that like Trump is some guy that really wanted to change everything and he just got bamboozled into this madness? Netanyahu tricked him. I'm so done with this bullshit. I can't even.
Israel can't defend itself without the United States, despite whatever propaganda you may have heard. So again, it's not an attack on Israel. It's an attack on American leadership for not constraining its partner in a way that helps the United States. Trump said, I want a negotiated settlement. Israel stopped the settlement. Trump refused to even criticize Netanyahu in public. Are you joking? That's slavery. That is total control of one man by another. And it's, that's between Trump and Bibi and God, as far as I'm concerned. But as an American, that's our president, our elected president, whose job is to protect our country and our interests and our economy. And he is looking out for Israel first. That's outrageous. And no amount of like, oh, you're an anti-Semite, which I'm not, and I'm never going to be, is going to stop me from noting that that's outrageous. It is outrageous.
Well said for the most part. Always funny to dunk on the New York Times liberals. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support, because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support.